What's going on, guys? It's Curtis Ems here, back in with a brand new video on this channel, and today the Sky Bet Championship is just around the corner and I'm going to be doing my table predictions from 1 to 24. Let me know what you think in the comments after I do the video. The Championship, as you know, is a very hard league to predict these days, but yeah, let's crack on with it, shall we? Anyway, before we crack on, make sure you like the video, subscribe, turn on post notifications if you are excited for the new season. And you know the drill. We are going to be starting from 24th to 1st. And in bottom, somebody's got to be there in 24th, Oxford United. Now, this may sound a bit of a lazy prediction putting them at the bottom, but I don't think they're ready for Championship yet fully. I mean, I like some of the business they made of Premature Placheta and Matthew Phillips, who have Championship experience. Mark Harris, their striker's got experience in the Championship. I like Cameron Brannigan as well and Ruben Rodriguez. But some of the players they got, or most of the players they got, aren't ready for Championship in my opinion. I mean, the Championship is a big step up from League One. And to be honest with you, they do have a capability of proving a lot of people wrong, including me. I think they can put up a fight, whether they finish bottom, relegated, or just about to stay up. I think they'll put up a fight in this division, but I don't think they're ready yet. And at the end of the day, someone's got to be bottom, so Oxford United bottom for me. In 23rd, I've gone for Plymouth Argyle. Plymouth Argyle, they only survived on the skin of their teeth on the last day of the season where they beat Hull City 1-0 and sending Birmingham City down. And they actually started really good last season under Stephen Schumacher. I like some of the players they got. They still got Morgan Whittaker and Ryan Hardy. But since Stephen Schumacher left for Stoke City, it all went downhill. His replacement, Ian Foster, didn't work out well, apart from the start where he sacked him towards the end of the season and survived under their caretaker manager. But now they have Wayne Rooney in charge, which for me screams a recipe of disaster because he did an absolutely awful job at Birmingham City, which for me caused Birmingham City to go down. I mean, Whittaker, his future's a bit uncertain. He might be there to start off the season with, but to be honest, I can see a season of struggle. In 22nd and taking the final relegation spot, I've gone with fellow promoted team to Oxford United, Derby County. Now, Derby County are finally back in the Championship after 2 seasons down in League One, and also sees a return of Paul Warne, who has a lot of Championship experience. And I would say of all the promoted teams, Paul Warne is the manager with the most Championship experience. Well, he is the manager that has the most Championship experience because he's taken Rotherham up and he went back down with Rotherham. So Paul Warne has suffered relegation in his last 2 Championship seasons. Knows a lot about the division, as I was saying. And they do have a few Championship experience players as well, with the likes of Tom Barkhausen, Nathaniel Mendes-Leon, James Collins, Ben Osborne. But a lot of them are aging, to be honest with you, and their recruitment, they have not done as much, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, they got an experienced team, Derby, and an experienced manager. But I'm just thinking with the recruitment in a minute, I don't think they'll do enough to stay up. In 21st position, just about surviving the drop, I've gone for Blackburn Rovers. Now, it happened last season where they just survived the drop, Blackburn, and I was tempting to put them down as they're struggling with money, but their recruitment has been pretty good recently, where they've signed the likes of Andres Weimann, Yuki Ohashi and Makta Gay. Like, they still have Sammy Schmodix as well, the top goal scorer, but I don't think he'll be there by the end of the season. He'll probably be there to start off with, but he may go like towards the end of the summer window, or if not the January transfer window. But if they can keep Sammy Schmodix for the first bit of the season, it'll be big for them. But obviously, as we speak, things can change very quickly. And also they have a tidy manager in John Eustace as well. So I think Blackburn will have the manager, John Eustace, and the players to do enough by surviving on the skin of their teeth once again. In 20th spot, I've gone with a bit of a gamble with this one. Watford. Now, Watford, I am very concerned about them next season. They've been very poor in pre-season. Tom Cleverley, their manager, lacks a lot of experience in terms of managing a football club. Their recruitment has not been very good at all. I mean, they got Musa Sissoko, who is experienced, but he's aged a bit now, and I don't think he's as good as he was at Newcastle. And also, Watford fans have been voicing towards their owner, Gino Pozzo, as well. They've been having a bit of trouble with him. They struggled last season by finishing 15th, and based on the current scenes, I think it'll be a pretty grim season at Vicarage Road. However though, I think Watford will have enough firepower to stay up. In 19th, I've gone for Stoke City. Now Stoke City are a team who have been expected to do well in terms of players, manager, recruitment. I like their manager Steven Schumacher, plays some nice football. I like some of the players they've got as well. And you'd expect them to do well, but since their relegation from the Premier League, they've been pretty disappointing. And I've been disappointed with them myself. I was expecting them to win a league in 2018-19 season in terms of players, manager and recruitment. But yeah, I've been very disappointed with Stoke City in the past few seasons, finishing bottom half in every season since their relegation from the Premier League. And to be honest with you, I think that trend will continue for the Potters. In 18th, I've gone for Millwall. Now Millwall, it looked like they were in big trouble last season, but Neil Harris came back to the den to rescue Millwall, and they ended the season on a massive high with a 5-game win streak. And Millwall, in terms of their recruitment, I like the addition of Macaulay Langstaff, but he has no championship experience though, and he's 27 years old. He was bagging all the goals in for Notts County in the National League and League Two respectfully. But other than that, they've been pretty quiet. I mean, they've added a few goalkeepers, and talking to their goalkeeper, it was really sad what happened to Matija Sarkic as he passed away a few weeks after the recent season ended. He actually saved a penalty against my club on the last game of the season. And it's really sad how you have this moment and then it comes to an end a few weeks later. Millwall have actually had a sad few moments in the past. And also, they lost their chairman last year as well. And now they lost their goalkeeper from last season. They're going to want to do well for them, Millwall. But to be honest with you, I think it'll be a mixed season at the Den. Will the momentum keep going after the 5-game win streak or not? But I'm just thinking it was a bit of a new manager bounce. But we'll see what happens at the Den, I suppose. But I think it'll be a mixed season. In 17th, I've gone with the final newly promoted team from League One who came up as champions. Portsmouth, aka the Pompey. It's a return of a sleeping giant. They're finally back in the Championship after like 10 plus years down in League One, and also they got relegated to League Two as well in between. They got a manager who does lack Championship experience, John Messino, but they have a really good following and support, Portsmouth, and I think it'll have a huge impact on how they do next season. Plus, I like some of the recruitment they've made as well this summer, and they're a massive club at the end of the day. But however, I don't think they're ready to be above 15th just yet. But I could see them being the most competitive team out of all the newly promoted teams next season. It's good to see them back. And for me, they're back where they belong. In 16th, I've gone for Preston North End. Now, Preston North End, in recent seasons, they've been improving gradually. They finished 10th last season. I mean, there's been some uncertainty in the past over Ryan Lowe, whether he'll be like a Preston the next season or the season coming after next season. So yeah, Ryan Lowe's had some uncertainty in the past. But they've also, going into this season now, they've lost Alan Brown, who was their best player last season. It may have an impact on how Preston do next season. They brought in Stefan Porarsson to replace him. Depth on the wings is a bit of a concern, where Robbie Brady and Brad Potts, you can't expect them to be playing most games, especially with their ages as well, and with midweek games. I like the addition of Sam Greenwood to the squad. But other than that, their recruitment has been pretty quiet. So yeah, I could see a mixed season at Deepdale happening. In 15th, I've gone for a big drop from last season and another gamble where I am saying Hull City. Now, Hull City, it's a gamble saying this one indeed, on paper especially. They narrowly missed out on the playoffs, but they've lost some big names to their squad. Jayden Philogene, Jacob Greaves, Ozan Tufan, Fabio Cavallo, who they had on loan from Liverpool last season, and also they sacked Liam Rosenior as well and replaced him with Tim Walter. Liam Rosenior for me was harshly sacked because he was clearly the man that takes them forward. Tim Walter, German manager, who they took from Hamburg, has no EFL experience, and they've only signed 3 players so far while I'm recording this video. So yeah, I fancy a drop-off season for Hull City. In 14th, I've gone with a 4-position rise for Queen's Park Rangers. Now, Queen's Park Rangers finished 18th last season. It looked like they were going to be in really big trouble last season under Gareth Ainsworth, but they appointed Marty Cifuentes, who turned them around completely, got them playing nice football. I like the style he plays. He's got his first full season in charge of Loftus Road, now the Spaniard. I like some of the recruitment they made this summer with the likes of Zanceller and Jonathan Varane. I mean, a little bit more work may need to be done in terms of recruitment, but other than that, I can see an improved season at Loftus Road. In 13th and completing the bottom half of the table, which is obviously top of the bottom half of the table, Sunderland. Now Sunderland, they got into the playoffs in their first season back in the Championship after being promoted from League One, but they had a very disappointing last season, didn't they? Sacked two managers in Tony Mowbray and Michael Beale respectfully. They lost Jack Clark through injury, which didn't help at all, because obviously he's their best player. I like the squad they got, like especially Jobe Bellingham as well, who is the younger brother of Jude Bellingham, as you know. And they do have an EFL inexperienced manager of Reggie Lebris. They got him from Lorient in France, and he's going to need a good start to his name. I like some of the signs they made of Ian Pervada and Alan Brown, as I was mentioning earlier. And I reckon with their recruits and the return of Jack Clark, I can see an improved season for the Black Cats, but it'll only be graduate. Okay, so we are halfway through the predictions now, where we are on to the top half of the table. And in 12th, I've gone with a very steep rise for Sheffield Wednesday. Now, Sheffield Wednesday, very much like Queen's Park Rangers, where they had a very shocking start under their first manager last season, under Cisco Munoz. They were in the bottom three most of last season even. And then when Danny Rawl took over, things changed dramatically. He has done a magnificent job by keeping them up. I really like the football style he plays as well. I like the recruitment Sheffield Wednesday made. They've got some good following as well, Sheffield Wednesday. They're a massive club. With the club side, the amount of fans they've got, the manager they got and the players they got, I can see Hillsborough having good times again. I think Danny Rawl will have the magic to put Sheffield Wednesday into the top half of the table. I can see a very good season at Hillsborough happening. In 11th, I've gone for Bristol City to maintain their 11th spot finish. There was a grim spell at one point for Bristol City. Liam Manning looked like he was under big pressure, where they lost 4 games on the trot in March time. But then he bettered Bristol City in the end. I like some of the additions they made this summer so far, such as Sinclair Armstrong, Yu Hirakawa and Fali Mayulu. I think it's Fali Mayulu how you pronounce it. And they play some nice football as well under Liam Manning. I reckon more work may be needed to finish higher for the Robins, but I think they'll do enough for another top half finish. In 10th, I've gone for Cardiff City. Now, Cardiff City, they've kept Errol Bullitt, which is absolutely massive for them. He's definitely the man that takes them forwards, and he has the mentality for the Cardiff players to fight until the end. I like some of the additions they signed, such as Wilfred Kanga, Anwar El Ghazi, Chris Willock, Callum Chambers, and also Alex Robertson, who was really impressive at Portsmouth last season, their promotion season. He's set to sign. He probably would have signed by the time I've uploaded this video, but they got a good looking squad, Cardiff, like Perry NG still there. They got Gutas, who is a quality centre back, Siopis. They got Aaron Ramsey, who's experienced as well. So yeah, Cardiff are definitely on paper a top 10 looking team, but the only thing is that they can have a few matches where they play really negative. They can play some occasional negative football, but with the squad they got and the fact that they kept Errol Bullitt, I can see them getting top 10. In 9th, I've gone for Norwich City. Norwich City, they suffered playoff heartache last season, losing to Leeds in the playoff semi-final. They've lost David Wagner, their manager, and also Gabriel Sarrar, their best player from last season. It may have a big impact on how Norwich do next season. They've still got the likes of Borja Sainz, Josh Sargent and Jonathan Rowe, but Josh Sargent is linked with a Premier League move. Jonathan Rowe is linked to Leeds as well. And if they lose these players, and if they don't replace them properly, it could be a much worse season for Norwich City. They got a new gaffer, Johannes Frop Horup from Denmark. He's a good-looking gaffer, but I think time's going to be needed at first. So, yeah, it's going to be a very different season at Carrow Road for Norwich City. And the way things stand, though, if they do keep hold of Sargent, Sainz and Rowe, I think they'll do enough for a top 10 finish. In 8th, I've gone for my boys, Swansea City. Well, I may get eggs and tomatoes thrown at me for this one, but after a very poor first half of the season under Michael Duff, Luke Williams took over, changed things around. It did take time at first, but then we eventually got into the rhythm. I love the recruitment we've been making so far, where we signed Gonçalo Franco, Yom Ji-sung, Lawrence Vigouroux, and Slovenian striker Zan Vipotnik, who looks like a very quality player on his day. Like, he played for Slovenia in the Euros, he scored 10 goals for Bordeaux last season. We've got a very good striker in our hands. I like some of the other attacking options as well. Ronald, who we signed in January, he's been really good since coming in. Margovia, an upcoming youngster. Josh Ginley, who looks like he's going to be really good when he comes back from injury. He had a very good start with us, but then ruptured his Achilles in a 3-0 win against Sheffield Wednesday. But I reckon he's going to come back stronger next season. Also, we still got Matt Grimes in midfield, Joe Allen. We're looking really strong next season. I think we may need another centre-back to complete our depth. But under the football we play under Luke Williams and the players we have, I'm very optimistic on how we do next season. But I think we're probably just about fall short of the playoffs. So in 7th, just about missing the playoffs, I've gone for West Bromwich Albion. Now, West Brom are another team who suffered playoff heartache last season, losing to the eventual playoff winners Southampton, who went promoted to the Premier League after beating Leeds United 1-0. They've lost a couple of players, Brandon Thomas Asante and Oke Yokuslu. They've lost their parachute payments, and they've replaced Brandon Thomas Asante with Devante Cole, who was bagging all the goals in for Barnsley. I don't know if he's championship ready yet or not, but they still have Carlos Corberán as their manager, which they need. Carlos Corberán has a mentality to keep West Brom in the top 10 area or somewhere near the playoffs. He can work his magic to get West Brom into the playoffs again. But I think based on the players they've lost so far, I think they will fall short in the playoffs. They may need a bit more work if they are to get into the playoffs again. I mean, they've still got the firepower to get in, but I think this time they're missing out. So we are nearly towards the end of our predictions now, and we are into the top 6, where we go from playoffs to promotion. And in 6th, the first Premier League relegated team, Sheffield United. Sheffield United, it was a season to forget from last season in their Premier League return after 2 seasons back down in Championship. They're back down again, and it was really disastrous. Over 100 goals conceded. Really shocking that is. And also, Chris Wilder's back again at Sheffield United, but he wasn't the same as he was. He's kind of past it now. I like the addition of Kiefer Moore up front and some of their other additions. And they still got most of the squad from last season, which can do a job in the Championship still. But I just think they're going a little bit backwards, although I still believe they will do enough for a spot in the playoffs. In 5th, I've gone for Coventry City. Now, Coventry City, they missed out on the playoffs last season by finishing 8th in the Sky Bet Championship. I like the addition of Brandon Thomas Asante to compete with Haji Wright and Ellis Sims. They've got a lot of depth in their squad. They've lost Callum O'Hare, which is a bit of a loss as well. They still got Mark Robbins as their manager. They play some lovely football. They were harshly beaten by Man United in the FA Cup semi-final as well. And I reckon they've got the depth, the manager, the mentality and the fans to get back into the playoffs after missing out last season. I think Coventry City, I expect big things from them next season. In 4th, I've gone for Middlesbrough. Now, Middlesbrough are another team that have a lot of quality around them. They've got a really good manager in Michael Carrick. They play some lovely football under him. I like some of their recruits like Aidan Morris, the American midfielder from Columbus Crew. He's a good-looking signing. Emmanuel Latte-Lafu really impressed his first season at Middlesbrough with 16 goals. He's going to have another big season, I reckon, and I think he's going to be up there towards the top goal scorers. He's going to be one of the best strikers in the Championship next season, I reckon. And I think Middlesbrough will do big things next season under the manager, the squad, the support. I reckon after missing out last season, they will get back into the playoffs. In 3rd, the second relegated Premier League team, Luton Town. Luton Town, they put up a fight last season in the Premier League. They were the most competitive out of all the promoted teams last season, I reckon. They haven't lost any of their players, really. Then they still got Rob Edwards as their manager. And on paper, they do look like one of the best squads in the Championship. And they play some lovely football under him. I expect the Hatters to have a good season. But I'm not sure if they'll do enough for the top 2, though. They might, but I think Luton will definitely be up there next season. But probably just about miss out on the top 2, though. So we're into our final 2 slots now, the automatic promotion places. And in 2nd, I've gone for the last relegated Premier League team in Burnley. Now, Burnley, they're back down again after being promoted the season before last season in Premier League. Well, funny enough, all 3 promoted teams went back down in the same season. And Burnley, for me, have the strongest squad out of all of them. They lost Vincent Kompany, who took them back to the Premier League in the first place. He did a magnificent job. I was very disappointed with Burnley last season. I expect them to do far better. Vincent Kompany has gone to Bayern Munich, which was a very strange move. But they replaced him with Scott Parker, which is a fantastic appointment. He plays some lovely football. He's got the right tactics. He's got the players, he's got the parachute payments, and I think he'll work his magic once again to take Burnley back to the Premier League. He's got experienced promoted teams as well, which is a big benefit on Burnley. He took Fulham back to the Premier League, he took Bournemouth back to the Premier League, and I think the same thing will happen at Burnley. And finally, taking the top spot and going up as champions, we all know who I'm going to say, Leeds United. Yes, I'm going for Leeds United to go up as champions in response to a playoff final loss to Southampton after Adam Armstrong's opener. They still got Daniel Farke as their manager. He's going to want a response. They have lost Crescencio Somerville and Archie Gray, though, to West Ham and Tottenham respectfully, which may have an impact on how they do. But they still got enough quality, such as like Bamford, Ruter, Perot. They got Joe Rodon on a permanent basis, Ethan Ampadu, and also Glenn Kamara as well. So yeah, Leeds have still got enough of that power to win the league. And also the manager they got as well has experience winning the championship. He took Norwich up to the Premier League as champions twice. And I can see Daniel Farke working his magic to take Leeds back to the Premier League finally, and by winning the league. And also, they'll have time to replace Somerville and Archgray, which I think they will do at some point. So there we are, guys. That is my predictions for the 2024-25 season of the Sky Bet Championship. Let me know what you think and put your predictions down below. Really can't wait for it to get started. It's good to see football back. And if you want to see more content, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on the post notifications, and yeah, see you soon. Roll on to the new season. Peace.